Yeah.
Next question.
Hold on. I wanted
Oh,
to say something about what you just said. You said that the things that your daughter's learning about, you allow her to, right? Now, as a male or man or father in relationship to my daughters, because of the dynamics of the society, I don't use the language I allow, right? I honor and I respect that. And it's important that I take that position and posture because it honors or celebrates their autonomy.
yes.
Because you would hear dudes all the time. One time I heard these dudes and they really thought that they were saying something. And they were talking about like women and women having opportunities and stuff like that. And he was talking about the woman that he's in a relationship with. And he was like, yeah, you know what? I allow my woman to go out and, I allow her to do this that, and the third. And he didn't even realize that wasn't the appropriate language or how to even define that relationship in terms of equality. You
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't even articulate it that way. What he should have said is, I respect her choices. I respect that she does this, that, and the third.
Mm-hmm.
I honor that. Because when you articulate it that way, you're honoring and celebrating and recognizing her autonomy. She
Mm-hmm.
chooses to be with you. You ain't allowing and letting her do shit.
Right.
Right? So that's what I'm saying. Even with my daughters, I allowed them to do certain things when it was a parent-child dynamic, but eventually, and it happened quick, I became a coach.
Right.
Well, I ain't telling them what to do. I'm suggesting. I'm giving them some information about why I may think that this is the best choice to make, but I ain't telling them to do shit.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Some of us as males or as men have never learned that, and we talk like that to grown women.
Mm-hmm.
I allow her to. I'm like, who the fuck is you talking to? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I seen this one woman and this dude was just like ultra masculine. You know what I'm saying? Like talking like all over her. Yeah, my earth this and this, that, and the third. And I wanted to start a pool to see how long that shit was gonna last. And she was like one of the most humble women that you would think of. And she would just sit there, just sit there all meek and not say shit, meek like a lamb. Right? And yeah, my earth, yeah, she this, that, and the third. And I'm like, God damn, he don't realize how far he's pushing her from him. And even when you look at a lamb is oftentimes described as humble because they really have no defenses.
Right.
You look at other different creatures and, a horny toad has different type of defenses against predators to protect itself.
Mm-hmm.
All these different creatures have a means to protect themselves. But when you look at a lamb really has no modes of defense. But even a lamb will bite you in the hand if you corner it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this is what this dude was doing with his words in terms of just uh, talking about this woman. And that relationship really didn't last too long because he wasn't really honoring her.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? And instead of him learning that it was his mouth, he's still talking shit.
Right.
It seems like once your ego gets shattered like that, Humpty Dumpty, that when you put the shit back together, that you should have a fresh new perspective on life and be a little bit more humble. That you ran a beautiful woman, like a mother of your children, away like that because you talking shit.
Mm.
Because you think you this, that, and the third. Well, obviously you're not. You know? And there's a lot of us that are, learning some hard lessons because we have these delusions of grandeur and we think that we're more than what we actually are. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I know this is not a concept; it's a way of life. But this is the best way I
Uh-huh.
can formulate the question: how can accepting the concept of being God aid in the relations to the Black woman and child?
I just take that off the table and say we have to learn how to just be a man first. Let's not even talk about that. You know, a lot of us are not even employable.
Mm.
You know, we don't even have a work ethic. If somebody asks you to print out your resume, we may not have nothing on there. And even if we put something on there, it might be some of the jobs we was doing in jail. So a lot of us just have not even evolved to become men yet. And I'm not talking about that beating your chest, being a man, and you know, you having sex with as many women as possible, being a man, or you know, I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about being strong enough to be gentle and being strong enough to be vulnerable. You know, my father, he used to cry a lot, you know, because of things that he saw that were beautiful, because of things that upset him. He wasn't weak
Mm.
or anything like that, but he was strong enough. And I told you, you know, earlier, he was on a physiological level, physically, he was very strong, you know, but he was also gentle enough, you know, to cry if he saw his children accomplish a goal
Right.
or to be successful in something, or because he was proud
Mm.
and he didn't hold that in or act like he you know, I can't let nobody, you know what I'm saying, see me like that or whatever. You know, at the same time, he would talk to us about things that would be vulnerable. You know, things that he experienced and things that he's went through in life. And these are oftentimes conversations that males don't have because we're taught to have this mask and this hard exterior, you know? Even when we talk about like the 5%, when a lot of father was teaching the first nine born and they were teaching others, these were youth. These were boys, preteens, and then teenagers that didn't know what manhood was in its entirety yet, not knowing how to raise a family. You know, that's why he had to emphasize to them, you need to go to school. You need to get a trade. Like these are things that allows you to be able to determine your destiny, you
Right.
know, and not be in a position where someone controls your outcome in life because you have the skills and the ability to make a living for yourself, to actually make an own. And there's a lot of us who have not even evolved to that point, and they're walking around spewing this rhetoric about how they're the true and living God and everything else, but don't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. You know, don't even know how to talk to people. Don't even know how to ask for something if they're in need.
Right.
Basic things like that, just as a human being, to have the capacity to take care of yourself. And if you can't even do that, if you can't even secure provisions for yourself, then you also don't have a reason to protect what you ain't got. So we talk about, like I said earlier, you know, protection, but provisions also comes along with it. You know, being able to take care of yourself. There's a lot of brothers that I know that's in their 50s and stuff, and they've never paid a monthly utility bill.
Mm.
They've never had a bank account before. Just certain things that are basic in
Basic.
terms of being a citizen in a municipality and contributing to your society. You know, and you know, and I'm not saying that you have to be self-made, but you have to be in a position where you have to have a level of autonomy as a being to be able to provide food, clothing, and shelter, because that leads to love, peace, and happiness eventually. But if you can't even secure those things, you
Mm-hmm.
damn sure not going to be able to help contribute to securing no provisions and to protect somebody else outside of you if you ain't even doing it for yourself consistently.
Right.
Barbie, excuse me. So there's a lot of us that, we talk all of that talk
Mm-hmm.
about how we're this and that. But when you look at our life is not an indicator that we know what we're talking about.
Right.
We're not respectable in our communities. People don't trust us. Our own families don't like us.
Mm.
We may not even have a healthy relationship with our own children. All of those things. Like, let's not even have no conversation about God. Like, let's just talk about basic manhood and brotherhood.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Let's get that straight first, because if you can develop and evolve in that way, then you can also evolve in learning the most divine aspects of just being that type of human being.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we're talking about deity. We're talking about the divine aspects of the human being.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if you have no mastership over just being a human, you can't even control your own body. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what kind of power or capacity you gonna have in other areas or spheres in life if you can't even control, your body functions? you know? So it's very humbling when you really think about it. And when I see dudes that are doing a bunch of talking, that are doing a bunch of posturing, they always, beating on their chest and acting like they this and the third. I know right then and there that they ain't really doing no shadow work. They not really learning what's necessary and what's important, because the things that are most important are the most humble. They're the most humble. Even when you look at like the life around you, people who are watching right now, you can go outside right now and look at the vegetation in your environment, in your backyard and stuff like that. Those beautiful flowers and stuff that you see,
Mm-hmm.
those are not the most medicinal. The most medicinal plants are the ones that you just walk right by that don't have no flowers on them,
Right.
that you would not even recognize.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like in life. A lot of the things that are most important are the things that are most humble, the things that don't get the notoriety or the recognition that we think they deserve. The acts that we perform offline, the relationships that we have with people that are not recorded on our phone.
Right.
Those in those spaces is really where the magic happens and where the most significant parts of life take place. And when I see people doing a bunch of stuff outside of those spaces, I know that right then and there, they really don't know what's going on. It's like, even when you look at a lot of the people who are the celebrities and, the Jay-Z's, the Beyoncé's, and different other artists, the most significant work that they do, you don't know about. You may learn about it somewhere down the line, like, oh, damn, I didn't know that they donated $1 million to this fund anonymously. The most significant work that they do is the most humble work, and it doesn't get the recognition and visibility that people expect.
Mm-hmm.
And those are and even though, people, I may share some things that I do, and people may see some things, but a lot of the most important stuff that I do, like, people wouldn't know about that. When I'm no longer physically here, that's when people would talk and be like, you know what? He did this and he did that. It's not for me to say anyway.
Right.
And that's another thing. Even when you look at it from a biblical perspective, right? When Jesus is doing his works
Unity.
and healing people and performing his magic, he wasn't going around saying, yeah, I'm this, that, and the third, and I'm doing this, and I'm true and living and all. He wasn't doing all of that. Even when people asked him, like, yo, what's good? Like, who are you and stuff? He's like, oh, man, who they say I am? Who
Mm-hmm.
do they say I am? He wasn't self-professing, you know? And when you learn this and you learn about like the powers that exist within you, and real divinity, you honor the sacredness of that. And there's a natural humility that comes along with it. A natural humility, because you know that this is not something that is a gift that has come through you. I mean, come to you, but it's a gift that is shared through you. Like the work that you do, that this is a gift that is shared through you. You guard it in terms of just operating within this world and in this society as yours. You hold fast to it and you protect it in that sense, because you also understand that you have people who may strive to undermine what that gift is. So you protect it in that capacity, but at the same sense, you realize that this is a gift through you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not yours personally or individually. It's something that you are blessed to be able to share with this world.
Right.
And a part of you honoring it and respecting that is making sure that you do share that with others and that you don't limit its capacity. So it's, just things that I've learned along my way. And, as I said earlier, my family, my parents, they laid a very good foundation for me to continuously evolve in the things that I do. And, what I'm willing and able to share with others so that they could also continue on their own path of growth and development.
Right.